The video of two women belonging to the Cookies-Omi community who were paraded naked by a mob of men has gone viral. What is your reaction to it?
It is highly saddening and condemnable to hear that such things have happened. And that's, I think, it's understandable that every right-thinking person would never endorse these kind of incident.
Videos from both the communities have emerged online where countless corpses were seen lying by the side of the roads. Where do you think the authorities have gone wrong in tackling the situation in Manipur?
You've rightly pointed out, things have happened, these kind of unwanted things, mutilation of bodies, and, killing of women and children. It has happened on both sides. And this is something that the people of Manipur never wanted because they have been coexisting for years and centuries. Having said this, I think the problem lies in the fact that the government of India, I think perhaps did not pay enough attention to the issues that were emerging in Manipur, particularly in the context of demographic imbalance, the issue of poppy cultivation, and the violation of suspension of Operation Rule 2011 by the Kuki armed groups who are in peace talks with the government of India. Had these issues been addressed timely, I think the proliferation of violence in the state of Manipur would have been preempted timely. That's what I feel.
Sexual violence and assault against women as an instrument to winning conflicts, the entire incident that has unfolded right before our eyes. Any opinion regarding that?
I think this is a very sensitive matter, but I would not, as of now, go with the argument that there is a systematic usage of women and their body as a part of politics here. I think that would be slightly, I'm sure this is an exaggeration, but I would rather say that, these reality that we are seeing is a very unfortunate, unwanted spectacle, which is a manifestation of the deeper problems that we in the Northeast India or in Manipur, particularly states having international border and which is largely porous, where there's a possibility of external forces getting into your society and politics. I think these have all met the situation very volatile, very fragile, and the inter-ethnic harmony has been hampered largely because of the unattended issues that we live with for so many years.
I was just reading about the role of Kuki women in the Anglo-Kuki War in 1918 to 1919. And the women were an integral part of the conflict. They were responsible for crucial tasks in the war. And yet, more than a century later, we see two women being disrespected to this extent. So, do you think that this incident has set India back at large as a country?
Amrita, you're again raising a very sensitive issue. You have used the war, the concept of war. I think I have read Kuki historians writing in the 90s and even in the 70s that this was more of a rebellion. And due to the, proliferation of ethnic equations in Manipur, I think of late we can see historians trying to reclaim that incident as war between Cookies and the British.
Right.
Mind you, I think we have to read it, the incident with a proper perspective before we jump in to say that that was war. But I think theoretically and legally speaking, war is normally fought between two entities. When I say entities, I mean two states, right?
Right.
So therefore, I think there are enough debates on the war, the event of 1857.
Right.
And historians have been flatly divided on this.
Right.
So therefore, I appeal to you that we have to be a little more careful when we are using these terms. So I have a feeling that, of course, the history of Manipur is replete with high participation of women in politics, in society. They're very, very outspoken. They're very, very active in public sphere. So therefore, you have had incidents like, the Anglo-Manipur War, 1891. You have had 1904 Nupilan. We have had 1939, again, Nupilan, which is like a women's uprising. So I think we have had enough incidents in the history where women from all the communities had taken their share of role. And there's no denying the fact. But however, I have a feeling that we should be a little more careful in recollecting historical incidents, and I think I appeal, and I think we all must be slightly sensitive, because it is very, very, there are denouncements coming up on the very idea of using the concept of war that you talked about. So I think because these narratives are also in many instances, we can see being constructed to suit the contemporary political interests and contemporary political objectives.
Right. The Prime Minister and even the Chief Minister of Manipur, N. Biren Singh, they have issued statements after the incident unfolded, or rather the video went viral. The incident took place on May 4th, right after the onset of the clashes in the state. On May 3rd, the incident reportedly took place on May 4th, and the first FIR that was registered, it was on May 18th. And yet the Prime Minister has issued a statement today. So what is your opinion around their statements?
Honestly speaking, I think due to the unavailability of internet connection, I have not seen the video, honestly speaking. But I've read in the newspaper, I've heard the PM speaking on radio, and I've also heard the Chief Minister speaking through media channels. I think the Chief Minister of Manipur has made it very clear that he is completely in favor of punishing those involved culprits, right?
Right.
So that's a very encouraging statement coming from him. However, I've talked to a couple of people. I've talked to Meitei in Manipur now, and they are very adamant. They are very, surprised that the PM has broken his silence very late.
Right.
And it is of the opinion that the people should, the PM of the country should have, spoken and intervened much earlier, as you also rightly pointed out in your question. So I think the people of Manipur, particularly in the valley, they are very anguished over these late reaction of the PM, and I think they have a reason for this. That while you are condemning an incident, people were expecting also the Honorable Prime Minister of India to intervene in real political concrete terms, which still hasn't come. So I think from now onwards, I'm sure that there will be a lot more statements, to this. As a part of a resentment, reflecting the resentment of the common people here, because the kind of violence that you are talking, we are talking, we have never thought of these violence will emerge, because we were thinking that that the possibility of violence to these kind of scale was almost impossible, having seen the kind of coexistence that I talked about. And you must be knowing the fact that that the Cookies were part of the first government we have had in 1947. The Nagas were part of it. The Muslims, Meitei were part of it. So we have a long history of living together. But off late, I think there are different difficult questions coming up, which I say in terms of demographic question, in terms of narco economy, proliferation in the state. So to be very precise, I think the PM should also now intervene and to live up to the expectation of people, because the people of Manipur want their age-old state to be protected, and they are of the view that they deserve to be protected because they have a long history of being an Asiatic power.
Do you see any resolution or an end to this conflict in the near future?
I think the people of Manipur, particularly the Meitei and human rights groups, have been very, very powerful, and they have had addressed these kind of situations before. and there are established records where the Meitei people have played a very, very significant peace builder's role in the past when the Kukis and the Nagas were fighting in the 90s, and the Meiteis played a very positive role to bring peace in the society in the state of Manipur. I'm sure these violence will also end very soon, and I'm sure the communities will move forward and fall back to their glorious living together past. And I'm sure that the spirit of coexistence and dialogue and democratic dialogue and locating oneself beyond an exclusive ethnic narrativization will perhaps stop at some point, and that perhaps will be the ground for meeting and negotiation and living together again.
Thank you so much for your time today.
My appreciation for you and for your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.